Hello everybody, this is Punt Frugal Streamer. I got a different video for you today. It's a reaction video. Knackers put out a video a couple days ago, and it's a reaction video basically off of a post from Nutty where he was talking about how, stream guide content creators, their channels are just kind of dying. So Knackers, he actually went into a pretty in-depth detail on why. So, and I figured, I said, well, I would do a quick comment video on that. So I want to kind of just go through a reaction. It's not really a reaction because I've already seen it, but there's some points that need to be made, and I just wanted to try to, give a little bit of a perspective, I guess, based on my personal experience with my channel over the last few years. So let's get into the video. Listen, if you like content like this, listen, I appreciate you coming in. A lot of you do subscribe, but there's a lot of you that may be watching that don't. So if you don't mind, hit the subscribe, please. Like this video and hit the bell for notification. We're going to have a video that goes live. All right, let's go ahead now and get into the video.
Hey, hope you're doing good.
It's doing well.
It's finally starting to cool down.
I don't know about here.
Conversation today. So if you haven't already seen a tweet from Nutty talking.
All right, so this is the tweet or post, depending on if you're living in Twitter world or X world. But this is the post that Nutty tweeted.
Talking about live streaming and live streaming tips. Nutty is huge in the content creation space for creating valuable content for people who are looking to learn about live streaming. And he focuses a lot on like regular tips, just as well as like teaching you how to use certain tools to enhance your live stream.
Advanced tips at that. Really good tips. He's probably one of the top OBS guys out there.
And his tweet is it is an accurate description of kind of what is going on in the live streaming space right now. And
so what he's talking about, since 2020, there's been a pretty steady decline in how channels that make stream guides, have been basically doing. They've been in struggle mode, let's be honest. So typical guys like Harris Heller or Epos Vox or Knackers or Nutty or, anybody, even, smaller creators like myself, they're struggling to get, views. Just people aren't watching these stream guides. And so this is kind of what he's talking about.
And, what is going to be next? So I think this just brings up a great point, because you have probably noticed the amount of content that is focused on streaming tips or streaming advice or how-to guides for streaming has gone like this. And the amount of streamers, I don't think, has gone like this. If anything, the amount of people live streaming has skyrocketed.
I agree with that. There is definitely a new demand for live streaming, but I don't think it's the type of streaming that that you typically think about, streaming on Twitch for gaming, that sort of thing, or Kick or YouTube or wherever you may be doing it at. Live streaming has definitely changed compared to what we realized, maybe 10 years ago.
Not necessarily on Twitch or Kick. We all see the headlines with Twitch and their profitability, right? Kick, we know where their profitability comes from. And, TikTok live streaming is not about IRL. It is not about playing video games. It's live shopping / QVC type stuff, right? It's a totally different live streaming over there. So we have a insane increase in live streaming, especially on short form platforms, yet either a complete plateau or a decrease in, I guess, live streaming hype.
Let's fast forward it a little bit here.
The live stream. More people are making a living with live streaming than ever now. Yeah. Just not necessarily the live streaming that we remember, the bleed purple era of Twitch, all that nostalgia bullshit. If you don't already know, I think nostalgia is poison, and constantly looking back towards the good old days is how you stay in the good old days. One of my mantras is adapt or die.
So this is a very good point that he's making, and it kind of goes along with what I've have seen over the past 5 years with live streaming. Your typical live stream of making a scene with your gameplay with overlays and text widgets and all these crazy things on your stream. That's not how live streamers are doing it nowadays. Most live streamers not even streaming a lot of games. I mean, obviously there's people that are doing that, but you're seeing podcasts, you're seeing IRL streams, you're seeing cooking streams, you're seeing all kinds of different types of, live stream content out there besides gaming. Stuff that you don't need a lot of all this crazy stuff on your streams. So when you don't need that crazy stuff, well, guess what? You don't need all the knowledge to be able to make all the advanced scenes. Plus, streaming has kind of trended toward more simplicity. It's kind of the way I am. I have a, one scene here where I have a camera with a little border and I have a display capture. That's basically it. No crazy widgets, no crazy alerts, no nothing. And a lot of people that, are living in the past and still have all that crazy stuff and are stuck in the past, and content creators for that matter that are still teaching as if it's 2018, 2019. Well, you're going to get left behind.
Simple as that. And so you've got things that have become easier, right? Back in my day, when I started streaming, it was a single USB analog mixer or mic, or just an absolute garbage can of a USB microphone that you would use to plug into OBS for live streaming. And you had to use Java-based applications in order to get noise gate.
Yeah.
I'm talking OBS Classic before
Remember
OBS
when
Studio.
Voicemeeter first came out?
I didn't even know that there was a version of OBS before the current version of OBS. And used an app called NoiseGator. It was a Java-based application that would noise gate out all the unwanted noise. And most people just ran without a noise gate back then. A lot of people. And so you've had this progression of OBS Studio, which is no doubt one of the most popular and powerful options out there.
Yeah, I think like 80% of live streamers right now across all types of genres throughout the whole stream space use OBS or some form of OBS.
But it is still to this day very convoluted and has a high barrier to entry, just on a knowledge-wise. And I guarantee that somebody is going to be like, OBS is easy. Anybody can learn OBS. Yeah, anybody can learn OBS. Everybody doesn't need to learn OBS.
Yeah, so his point here, and basically what he's getting at is, OBS, while it has gotten a lot easier over the years, it's still kind of confusing. And in a way, I feel like OBS is kind of stuck in the past too. The UI really hasn't had a major update in a long time. And there's a lot you can do with it. Obviously, you can customize it a lot, a lot more than what you used to. But generally speaking, there's still, it's just not very intuitive. And there's much better options out there nowadays compared to, 2019, 2020, when OBS was really where I feel like OBS was really in its heyday.
And you probably see where we're going with this conversation. We have the introduction of Meld Studio, which is another broadcasting software that has become very popular in the past year. And it's crazy to think that, like, I've known of Meld, I think the last I looked, it was like 18 months since one of my first
Meld's
tweets
great.
Was like, hey, guys, keep an eye on this because this looks awesome. It's probably one of the only times in history that I've ever predicted something right. Seriously. But you have this other piece of software comes out, and of course, what is the initial response? Who needs this? Why does anybody need something other than OBS? Yeah. You can do everything manually. You can do everything with plugins. And so you have this very prominent voice of, no one asked for this. We can already do all of this. Why does this exist? And what have you seen over the past 12 months? You've seen the incline of people getting frustrated. Yeah. The amount of people just on X, I call it X, I'm sorry, talking about their frustrations with OBS. And
yeah, so OBS has gotten really janky lately. And it kind of, it's dependent on a couple things. If you leave OBS alone and you don't really do a lot with OBS is going to run fine. But as soon as you start, using a bunch of plugins and a bunch of extensions with it, that's where you start getting in trouble. And so a lot of people who are using plugins and are seeing these updates with OBS and you're starting to see where these plugins get unstable and they crash OBS. That's what he's talking about. And when he's referring to Meld here, he's talking about software that came out from the ground up, built from the ground up to make live streaming much easier while giving some really nice effects. Meld Studio in its current form is I would say it is better than OBS, provided that you are one of those users that does not need super advanced plugins to do a lot of things. But if you want a multi-stream, if you want, your typical scenes and sources that you'd use in OBS, and you want, nice recording and optimized, of an optimized broadcast app, then that's what Meld Studio is going to give you as compared to OBS. And everything's built in. You don't have to install plugins. It's all there. It's intuitive. It's just easy to use. And so, I love Meld personally.
Most of the issues that come with OBS and its instability.
Yeah, I'm going to skip forward because this is basically, I'm just rehashing what he just said, or he's rehashing what I just said.
Spend all their time in OBS building scenes and building sources. And to that point, you now have kind of this, I don't want to say it's like a revelation, but a realization that once you learn what you need to know, and once everything is stable and it's working, it allows you to just focus on the content.
And that's true. When you're learning this stuff at the beginning, obviously, there's a lot to ingest and a lot to understand and comprehend. But once you get there, it's all the same. And to his point, once you learn OBS, that knowledge transfers over. So if you decide that you want to switch over to something like Meld, well, it's similar enough to OBS that you can hop in and kind of understand what you need to do inside of it. Yes, there's some nomenclature differences that Meld uses that is just slightly different than OBS, but you'll know based on your knowledge that you've already learned in live streaming. And this, even goes into other apps like vMix or Streamlabs, whatever. Okay, once you learn one, you can kind of figure out the rest.
I have not looked for live streaming advice in years, right? And this is somebody who grew up watching Epos Fox and Nutty and Harris. And if you didn't know, I've actually been working for Harris for the past 6 months. That is ending in a couple weeks here. And if that doesn't tell you that, like, there is a certain evolution of this niche, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I was, Harris was one of the guys that I initially went to when I was learning this stuff, mainly gear more than live stream guides. It was Epos Box I was using live stream guides for and learning how to optimize OBS back in the day. Harris was more of a gear guy. I would go to him for cameras and stuff like that. And the Elgato stuff is where I kind of learned, all the Elgato stuff is from Harris. But even now, I mean, you look at the amount of videos he's producing compared to what he used to, it is very little. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, there's just really not a big interest in streaming anymore. And I'm sure that his channel's taking a hit just like everybody else. And the problem with Harris is, which I imagine he's probably diversified enough that he is okay, but he's a full-time content creator. And so any hit to a channel like that, I know has to hurt, especially now that he's got a really nice house and a full studio and everything, and he employs people and all that stuff. And it sucks to hear that Nick is not part of Harris's crew anymore, or will not be here soon. Nick, I'm going to tell you, is a unique, very interesting guy. I love his content. He's he's super intelligent, and he's really good to work with.
But there is a plateau eventually, right? Where you gain all of your knowledge needed to live stream. And before, you needed this much knowledge in order to be a live streamer. And now you need this much knowledge, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of things like OBS. He's talking here, like OBS even has a wizard built in now that'll optimize all your settings for you. You don't even need to know the proper video settings. You just basically answer some of the questions that OBS asks, and then it'll set it up for you. It'll test your connection. It'll do everything. He'll get into audio here in a second, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit here, but things like Elgato's Wavelink with their wave mics that they came out with, I just make audio mixing and audio processing so much easier. And even now, they basically have just an auto setup to get your gain set, so you don't even have to know how to set your gain properly. It'll do that for you. Other software such as Beacon or SteelSeries Sonar, they all just make your audio mixing easy, which is really where the learning curve, I think, for a lot of people is just how to get your audio just right.
What you can do now with I'm
going to fast forward a little bit.
So you take a single computer, or even just like a mid-range gaming PC that has an NVIDIA GPU. I keep kicking the camera, I'm sorry. Have NVENC encoding, allows you to game and stream on the same machine. All the effects and plugins that you can get for OBS that can do different things, all the things that are built into Meld that just allow you to build a insanely powerful broadcast for a one-time purchase and or free, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of nice free assets out there, including Meld. But even now, the barrier to entry is so low compared to what it used to be. I mean, you used to have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a dual PC setup and all this to even be able to get a quality stream. Nowadays, you can stream off of a sub $1,000 laptop if it has a hardware encoding built into it. And you can stream it, 1440p, 60, or even 4K without any issue. It's amazing where we're at today compared to not, even 5 years ago with the amount of hardware that you need compared to then. I mean, my setup now is basically obsolete. If I wanted to, you could just stream off of a single PC. Now, I'm going to be honest, it's still nice to have a dual PC setup. I'm not going to lie, but to get into live streaming, you definitely do not need anything like what we have right now.
I don't need to become a master of audio. I don't need to become a master of video. I just choose the platforms that I want to stream to. I pick game capture or desktop capture. I got my music on my VOD track, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's all you really need. That's all really I think anybody's really looking for nowadays in your stream. They're not really looking for a bunch of crazy effects. Now, there's a few of you out there that, like Nutty's channel, that's what he's known for. A lot of apps and the way he's built his stream that gives you, interaction with your audience. That's his thing. But for most people, you're just looking for something really simple.
We are now reaching a point where it is not necessarily about how to set up a microphone, how to set up a computer, how to set up dual
It's all
PC
done for
streaming.
you.
The other piece of the pie, and why you're probably seeing a huge decrease in live streaming advice or streaming tips is creators are tired. Creating educational content is already such a thankless job.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of abbreviate what he's talking about here, but Stream Guide content creators, we're out there doing this stuff for free, right? We're not charging a fee for you to watch these videos, and we don't want to. I mean, we do it because we enjoy it. But when you don't have a lot going on in your channel anymore, people aren't watching, and you're going and you're spending all these hours and you're spending a lot of assets to get these videos made for no return at all, it gets really hard and it wears down on you. Another thing too is, people are out there and they want everything for free, right? Knackers, has a business where he does 3D printing, and he talks about this in the video. But anytime, he makes these 3D print models, people that are on his socials, they want him to upload his designs for free. No, because he charges. He has a website where he has this available that you can purchase that he makes for you. He spent a lot of time in R&D. I've worked with him, with his Knackback, which I'm currently using right now for my prompter, and my camera and everything. But he's, spent a ton of time and money in designing this. And, and I worked with him in a beta design for some of the OBS cameras out there. So I know what he does in terms of pouring his time and his talent and his money into this. So for people to ask for that, for him to give this stuff away for free, at least the design so he could do it himself, I think that's a little crazy. But even that, with this shift in our content, for me personally, I had to get away from doing a lot of guides because they just weren't, getting a lot of views. And I had to switch more toward gear reviews. And with that, it comes with its own circumstances. And you start getting, flack from people, as he talks about in the video, people, I don't know if they're envious or jealous or they're just hating on you, but you're either a shill if you're doing a video for, say, Elgato, or, oh, you're getting paid by them, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't work that way. Personal matter of fact, funny thing is I got an email today from Elgato, or yesterday from Elgato, their newest capture card's coming out. And guess what? I'm going to get one and do a review on it. They're sending me the product. I'm probably going to spend a good week or two testing it out, recording, making sure it works, building up my own opinions about it, and then giving a review of it. It takes a lot of time to do that. It takes a lot of time out of my, normal schedule to do that. But it's something that I like to do, and it's something I feel that there's a lot of people out there that want to learn about it and hear about it and get my perspective on. But there's always those people that just always, just want to say something negative in the chat, whether you're a shill or blah, it's too Elgato, they're always so expensive. You're supposed to be the frugal streamer, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, you know what? They're offering me a product that I, enjoy doing reviews on, and I'm trying to grow my channel and expand my channel. This is one way for me to do it. Show a little grace, give me a break. Right. And the guys, and that's basically what he's talking about here too. It is hard. And when you get burned out like this, obviously you spend less time making content.
Review it, rinse, repeat, over and over and over again. And nobody wants you to make any money.
Yeah, so this is kind of what he's talking about there. Another point, I will say this, another point he talks about too, is, especially when it comes to, content for reviews, it gets very old having to tear your stuff apart to do a review for a new product. It's a constant swap out of tearing cables out, swapping stuff out. So I kind of built my system the way it is because I can easily get to things. I can remove cables and I can do that. But I'm going to tell you, even with that, with the setup that I have, it's still a pain. Go down. I've got a cable right here, as a matter of fact. I can't remember what it's used for, but it's sitting up here. It's an extra USB-C cable. I'm sure I originally had an intent for it at one time, but I don't know. It's there. So, just this constant swapping in and out of gear, it's a pain in the butt.
And so this next category is going to be very interesting. But at the same time, that also leaves a lot of room for tips for content creators. There are still going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that are coming into content creation new, and they're going to have to learn about cameras and microphones. And so you might see people that start to divert from live streaming tips into just general tips for content creators.
So this is one of the things that I've done in my videos is I don't do live streaming tips anymore. Anytime that I refer to anybody that would be watching these videos now, I refer to you as a content creator, because live streaming is creating content. It's just a version of content creation. So when you do that, people get in the mindset of, okay, so he's talking about things I can do instead of live streaming or in addition to live streaming. It doesn't really focus your channel on just streamers. So when I do camera reviews, I'm doing camera reviews for people that want to do unboxings or do a podcast or church live streams. That's kind of where I've kind of shifted how I teach and do guides now when I do, post one.
Still room for people to learn about how to deal with brands and marketing and
this is an area where I need to work on, to be honest with you, is how to deal with brands, because I think there's money to be made out there working with brands. They obviously have a collaboration budget. But, you know, I don't really fully understand my worth, you know, and what would be a fair price to ask some brands when when I get offered, things to do. But that's just me and something I need to learn.
Advertising, and there's so many other parts of being a influencer, content creator here on the internet. There's so much more to learn. I think that live streaming, being a live streamer, is now not really a thing.
Yeah,
you're a content creator.
Yeah,
you create different sorts of multimedia content for the internet.
Yeah, most people live streaming nowadays, you know, they're also posting clips to their shorts and stuff to try to, expand out into other platforms to bring people into their live streams when they are live streaming. And what you're seeing oftentimes is you start to see these people that then also start creating more long form content to post on their other channels, because those other channels are growing too. So it really is nothing about live streaming anymore. It really is about content creation and all the different forms of content creation that you're doing.
It makes sense that the educational part of the system is starting to decline, because people are doing more than just live streaming now. Yeah. And anybody who is just focusing on helping live streamers only is probably having a hard time. And that, that also, for me, as I started to get into reviewing hardware and reviewing software and making videos about cameras, I felt it immediately. I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be like if I do this full time. It's going to be nonstop hardware in, hardware out, constant affiliating, constantly fighting for sponsors, constantly fighting with people about having sponsors or having ads. And I could just sense that it was going to be a very, very long and hard road.
Yeah, it is, and it is. Surprisingly, when I started getting into gear reviews and things like that, I was really looking forward to it. But I'm going to be honest with you, it wears on you after a while, because you have to meet schedules, you have to be mindful of embargoes. You're getting a bunch of crazy offers from a bunch of content or a bunch of companies that you may not want to do things on. I get offers all the time, at least 3 or 4 a day, that are for, companies wanting me to do a video on a candle, for instance, or a shower. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff that I get. And I'm like, no. And it doesn't fit my channel at all. And then on top of that, the ones that you do get, if you get enough of them, you're trying to manage all that at the same time. And, it goes back to ripping your system apart, putting it back together. It does wear on you after a while.
And for a while I wanted it, haven't wanted it for a long time, but I still love helping people. I still love helping people with their technology and educating people about being a content creator and working with brands and cameras and microphones and tips on computing and stuff like that. So I'll probably never stop making that sort of content. But yeah, as far as like being somebody who just educates content creators or live streamers with technology, those days are done for me, and they have been for a while. And now I try and one more thing. There's also no room for creativity there, right? And that sort of content, if you deviate from 100% delivering value to the person, people don't want to see that shit.
Yeah, so he's mentioning, if you watch Knackers, Nick has a style. He puts potty humor in his videos. Personally, I kind of like it. I think it's funny. I'm going to be honest with you. It amuses me. It entertains me. But as he says, there's a lot of people that just want to watch the video to get the information for the piece of hardware or software and then leave. They could care less about the creativity that you put into it, with all the color correction and all the graphics and, the script that you write and, those type of things. They could care less.
They want to learn what they came for and then leave.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about your comedy. They don't want to hear about your side gigs. They want to hear about anything else. They want the information from you, and that's it.
Now, I will say there is a certain niche of, content creation where I have found that people do enjoy it, and that is a vlog style video. So those are very popular, especially with the crowd that I watch nowadays, where I'm watching a higher level live stream gear channels and mixing channels for, related to churches. Those are typically vlog style videos, which I find very interesting.
And that is so damaging to the soul. To create strictly transactional content, because that's what being an educational content creator is, right? It's incredibly transactional. And that was also something that I learned early on, was that there's no room to be creative, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be creative.
Yeah.
And
he is very creative. Man, matter of fact, you have to go watch his 1 hour video. It's like a 1+ hour video on his desk. The amount of time that he's spending into that, and the amount of editing of that video he spent doing that it's a great video. And it kind of goes into showing you the creativity that he puts into it. A lot of people don't care. They just don't care. And it's sad. It really is sad.
I think that's enough rambling.
Yeah.
But
so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video there. But yeah, I appreciate Nick and what he does. Again, listen, I'm going to provide a link in the video. If you have, especially if you have an Elgato prompter, his knack-back kits for content creation, they are fantastic. Currently using it right now. I have all kinds of different mounts for different cameras that I can then set up for the Elgato prompter. It's just a great thing. And they're not expensive, and they're well made, and he always provides some extra goodies in there. So make sure you go check out his website. I'll provide a link in the description below for that. But I do appreciate Nick, and I appreciate his perspective on things. You should really go subscribe to his channel. Again, he's very intelligent. He knows what he's talking about. He's highly creative. He has a great mind. He has a great sense of humor, and he's just an all-around good guy. So go check him out, and I appreciate Nick taking the time. And even, I asked him, I said, hey, you mind if I do a reaction video to this? And he said, oh, no, go ahead. Just a genuine guy, really is. One day I hope to be able to meet him in person. So looking forward to that day. All right, guys, thank you for watching the video. And like I said, if you stuck around for this long, well, you're one of the few that really do support this channel. Make sure you hit the like, please. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. You'll know when the video goes live. Other than that, everybody, thank you. Have a great day. We'll see you later.